Welcome to another episode of Coder Conversations. This is Kevin.
And this is TC.
Man, how's it been going?
It's going. It's going good, man. It's going good. I can't complain. Uh, yeah, I kind of injured myself at the gym, but that's to be expected.
Yeah.
Um,
Doing
I
what?
I tried to. I've had this injury before. Doing shoulders, where like the shoulder press, like
Oh yeah, you got to
pushing
be
up,
careful with shoulders.
and it wasn't my shoulder. Like I had terrible form, and
Hmm.
I'm trying to like I'm not ego lifting, but it's like I know I could do more. So I try to do
Yeah.
more, and then like what I did is I strained my this muscle like right behind my neck, and
Oh, okay.
so like it hurts when I do this or like move my
Yeah.
neck in any kind of way. So um yeah, man, you just gotta have good form when you're using those machines, or
Yeah. I
you'll
think
hurt yourself.
the key is, man, you don't go crazy on the weights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I used to like just lift like try to max out and all of that, and
hmm
nobody cares really except you.
You're right, right, right. Yeah. So I'm dialing it back a bit, but
Yeah.
it it just puts it
But
in my mind that like it's not about like getting to the finish line or like progressing like quickly.
yeah.
It's all about pacing yourself.
Yeah, it's all about doing like what your body can handle. Like a lot of them bodybuilders and stuff, they're dying off. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? 'Cause
yeah,
they're pushing their body to such an extreme that
it's too
the
much.
body can't take it.
Yeah,
So,
it's too much.
you know, I think the coding process, even coding is kind of like that. Like we want to be all hardcore. I'm gonna study 8 hours a day after I
hmm
work and all of that.
hmm
But it's like, nah, your mind's like, nah, you do something else.
Yep. Psych, that's not happening. Yeah, exactly.
Man,
And
that's how I avoid burnout. Like I listen. Like if my mind says, "Oh, that's enough," I'll just go play a game.
yep. Or just don't do nothing, man. Just like it's just like just shut down. Like it's okay to take a break. It's okay to relax. Like
Yeah.
uh,
Did you ever feel guilty like when you're not like being productive nonstop, or have you kind of got past that?
um, I think now, like when I first got into the like when I first got like when I was like, first trying to break into the world into the career path and like get my
Yeah.
first job, I was definitely like on all the time, just like go 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 go.
Yeah.
And but I didn't have a sense of like direction. I didn't have a sense of uh like the path isn't spelled out for you. Like yeah, you can find those like front end engineer roadmaps and stuff, but
Yeah.
it for me, I didn't really have a path of like, okay, read this book, do this, do this, do this, solve this many leak code problems, and then you'll get a job. Boom, you're
Yeah.
done, right? Uh,
I
yeah,
think the
because
problem with those roadmaps, they're too detailed. Like there's so much information on it. You're like,
yeah,
I give up after a while. You don't.
yeah, it's like why? Like I would be studying some stuff, and I'd be like, why do I need to know this?
Right.
Why? And I didn't have that clear picture of like, okay,
Mm.
like I want to learn Java because I want to make Android applications. Well, why do I need to know what a string is? Why do I need to know what a variable is or a const or whatever, memory
Mm.
management? Like, why do I need to know all this stuff? Like, I just want to build the apps. Like,
Right.
like
I think that's
yeah,
where it pays to have like a mentor. They can kind of guide you. They save you a lot of time. Like, hey, bro, you're wasting your time
yeah,
studying that. Go
yeah,
over here.
yeah. It's like having a personal trainer. It's like you
Yeah.
have a personal trainer that tells you, hey, you're wasting your time here, or
Yeah.
your form is poor here. Like they'll guide you, and like having that feedback, like consistent feedback, helps.
Right. Exactly. Man, have you ever been in a mentorship position before?
Uh, Not like a big mentorship position, with somebody coming to me like every day, but I have had people like ask me like, "How do you get started?" And I would just give them like the basic stuff like Code Academy or W3 schools or like just I would just give them the basics of how I got started. Kevin, you there?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
you back?
yeah, everything. So, I don't know if I froze up or you froze up on my screen. You froze up.
Oh, I saw you freeze.
Yeah, I guess it's the
Okay.
opposite or whatever.
I don't know. Do you want to start
No,
over
it's
or
still
keep going?
no, it's still going. It's
Okay.
still yeah, because I think
All right.
the stream is completely separate from any of our computers, which is kind
Okay.
of cool.
What was the last thing you heard?
I forgot what we was even talking about. Something
The
like,
the mentor. Have I ever been in a mentorship
oh, okay,
position?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
You was kind of talking about how you was asking, like people ask you questions, but you haven't had like some super serious mentorship where you're there every day.
yeah, no, I didn't really have like the closest thing I had to a position like that was like a TA position where, like being a TA at the UCLA boot camps for like
Yeah,
coding boot camps. Like that's sort of a similar situation, but I wouldn't consider it being like a mentor.
yeah. I think,
Yeah,
like with mentorship, the reality is not like you picture in your mind. Like you have some loyal, dedicated student who follows you around every day, hanging
yeah,
on to every word. It's like they
yeah,
kind of pop in every week or so and ask you a couple of questions and disappear.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
how like so-called mentorship has been like from my experience.
yeah. And you don't want. Yeah, I don't think, from my experience, you don't want somebody that's just gonna always lean on you for the answer.
Yeah,
Like they have to be willing to like explore and like try things on their own and grow on their own because that's where the real growth is. Like
yeah,
you'll you could you could lean on somebody over and over again, but sometimes if I don't have, I'm not gonna just give you the answer straight away. I'll probe you for the answer or for your thought process. Like, what'd you try? What'd
yeah,
you like? That's sort of what I've been going through these past couple of weeks. Is like, hey, I'm stuck trying to figure out this
yeah.
issue at work, and instead of just getting a direct answer, it's what'd you try?
Yeah,
Like,
so it's kind of like like you have kids, you have to launch them eventually. Like
mhm,
they have to you push them out the nest, or they'll forever be dependent on you. And if you're
yeah,
not there, then they're screwed.
yeah, 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 teach them life skills.
I think that's an important thing to talk about, though, like that process of just being there by yourself and learning how to figure things out. Like, not psyching yourself out, just knowing, like, okay, if I just stay calm, keep
Yeah,
researching, trying different things, like I'll start getting closer.
yeah. I like to think of it like practicing your fundamentals, like uh like studying algorithms and data structures. That's what really helped me to like when I was really on my elite code grind.
Hmm.
It was like, okay, I have a problem in front of me. It's based like I know the topic is based on arrays or strings or whatever, right? And
Yeah,
then like just understanding the basics of that data structure or whatever, like eventually I could get the solution to that problem. It might not be in like an hour or whatever, but
yeah,
let's say like the next day or the next couple of days, if I'm still having trouble with that problem, eventually it'll click. Like the question might be like vague and like hard to understand, but if you have your strong fundamentals, it'll take you far.
yeah. It makes it a lot easier to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
So, in terms of getting better, though, like, what do you feel about code reviews? Do you feel like they're helpful across the board, or you have a mixed opinion? They can be helpful.
Um. So far, they've been really helpful. Like
Yeah,
where the code review process that I'm experiencing is not so much like oh, it looks great, okay, cool, like looks good to me, just merge it.
yeah,
It's more of like why'd you do it this way, and like to understand your thought process of why you did this way.
right.
And then like being challenged to like think of a more universal way of doing it.
Yeah,
Just because like because I'm learning React, right? And like React has its own way of doing things, it has its own library. Um, but I'm used to doing stuff with like jQuery or like raw JavaScript,
yeah,
and the solutions I come up with have been mostly like raw, like oh, this is JavaScript and this is the way that it works. But sometimes React might have a React way of doing something or like a more cleaner way of doing it in React.
yeah,
So my commits or whatever would get challenged. Like, okay, well, why'd you do it this way? Like, like you could have used this library, or like there's no reason to do, A if B, like, uh, and then I have to either defend what I wrote, like why did I write it this way, or rewrite it in a better, um, more
Yeah.
react way.
Yeah, it's kind of like, to me, code reviews, they can be very helpful if they're implemented correctly, but they can also be detrimental if it's like, the guy just criticizing everything. Like, why is your variable styles like this? You should
Hmm.
rename this variable like that. Like you say, like if they're challenging you, like, no, this way is better, or
Uh-huh.
use this design pattern. Like they're
Yeah.
elevating your coding as
Yeah.
opposed to like them pushing their semantic preferences on everybody.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a balance to me. And with the code review, I found like you have to take your emotions out of it. Like the code isn't your baby. It's kind of like, it's just something that you throw it in a pipe. It's really the company's code, and they
Yeah.
can, if they want to check it in, they can. Like, you
Hmm.
know they're paying
Yeah.
you to get it up to standard before they bring it in.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you
Yeah.
take your emotions out of the process?
Um, I kind of had them, like, not beat out of me, but like you just kind of go through the motions of, like,
Mhm.
at first you're gonna feel those feelings like, man, I spent all this time on it. I banged my head against the wall. I got frustrated. I'm in a happy place. It's working or whatever. But then
Yeah,
you submit it, and then it goes to code review, and they want you to clean this up and fix this, and you have all these comments on it, and you're like, dang, I just wanted the green light. I don't want all
yeah,
these comments. I just want the green light. Let's go. Um, yeah, like at first, it's gonna be emotional, but then over time, you you start to learn, or you should
yeah,
start to learn, or expect to learn that it's not about, um it's again, it's not about you, or like what you're doing. Like there's just cleaner ways of doing something, or like more,
yeah,
a simpler way, or a a less verbose way of doing something. Because like when I used to write code, it was just like this long, huge paragraphs, right, to like do something.
hmm
But it could have been solved in a much simpler fashion without 20
yeah,
lines.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're on a team of good coders, man, you got to almost look at it like they're coaching you, like
Yeah.
they're using that process to get you better. And
Yeah.
nobody really likes being criticized, but if you think about it from the standpoint that it's going to make you a better programmer,
Right.
if you need to think of direct benefits, it's going to make you more money, make
Yeah.
you more marketable.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, so they're not criticizing you as a person.
Yeah.
They're helping you shape your standards up. If it's a good team.
Yeah. And I also think that, that uh, being a good listener as well as
Mhm.
a speaker helps. Like, no one wants, at least I don't feel comfortable working with somebody that just wants to do something their way and
Yeah,
doesn't take criticism well, and responds negative to criticism, or just completely dismisses it.
yeah,
Because then it's no longer a team, right? That's you're just like an MVP, like a all around scorer, but you don't have these other skills of being able
mhm,
to listen, or to give feedback that's helpful. You know what I mean?
yeah. So
Yeah.
a part of the code review that's not often talked about from the perspective of the code reviewer.
Hmm.
Like that's your opportunity to teach. Like you have to kind of balance that. Like
Yeah.
you want to give them criticism to step up their game, but not to so much to where you're breaking their confidence and making them hate working there.
Right. Yeah.
So I think from that perspective, you know, you have to, like you say, you have to be a good listener. Like if I say, dude, why did you do it like this? That to me, that's not, you should have done it my way. That to me, that's like, maybe you have a different way of thinking. I need to,
Yeah.
hear your logic out before I say, no,
Yeah.
do it like this.
Yeah. Nah, I hear you. I hear you. Yep.
But yeah, man, I seen another interesting story, man. It says like what companies are making record profits, but they're still raising prices.
Yeah, yeah. I think I saw. I saw the article. I haven't read it yet, but as far as like what I'm understanding with this whole like inflation thing, right, is that somebody's gonna feel it. Somebody's gonna feel the squeeze, right? Usually it's the person in the middle, or like it's the consumer,
Yeah,
right? But somebody's gonna be the with that like companies as far as like materials go or
yeah,
cost of goods, all that goes up, right? And then when one side of the when one side of the company starts to feel it, the squeeze, and they raise their prices, the other side does the same thing to compensate.
yeah,
So, uh, but eventually, like, there's a point of okay, we can raise it this high, and then we're good, right? That covers cost of goods on, over here, and that covers cost of goods over there, and then you're good. But then there's also the factor of okay, we still want to make more money. Like, hey, we're raising prices. Let's just see how far we can go.
yeah,
And I think that's what they're doing.
yeah. I think a lot of these companies are using the situation as a smoke screen to justify them, like because they're saying they're making record profits, so they're making profit like money above their
Hmm.
expenses. It's kind of like, okay, there's coronavirus, there's so-called, the narrative, there's a shortage of this.
Hmm.
We can raise our prices. Oh, the other company raised their price, so we need to raise our prices even more. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's like it gives them a smoke screen to raise their prices. But
To
the
keep going
problem
up.
is that there's only so much money out there. So the higher your prices, the less that people can eventually buy. So that's
Mm.
gonna eventually lead to like economic collapse to a certain extent, like a recession. You know what I mean? Because say there's only like ten pieces of pie. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And one company had two, another has three.
Hmm.
If if each of these companies keep on taking more slices, and the pie isn't getting bigger, what can you do? Like if they're charging more, taking more of our money, we're gonna eventually
Yeah,
have less to spend.
and the pie is getting bigger. Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what people are gonna do.
Yes, man, it's crazy, man. Like I think what I'm saying, that's why I think it's so important to be like versatile. Like if you're, I'm kind of like in the mortgage. I work for like a mortgage company on the front end, pretty much. But
Hmm.
if the housing market blows up, that's gonna affect my company. You know what I mean?
Right,
So it's like I have to have my skill set up to where okay, this industry's not hot. I can at least try something else.
right. Have you thought about that? Do you see yourself leaving tech to go pursue other careers?
Like I don't know if I'm gonna leave coding ever, but I want to get my mathematics skills up because say for example that's like a universal skill that just about every industry uses. So if you're really good at coding, really good at mathematics, you
Yeah,
can come in and automate a lot of different industries or bring a lot of value. So that's kind of like how I'm shielding myself, and I need to get back more into the back end like SQL. Like what company doesn't have a database?
right.
They have to have a database somewhere.
Yeah. You're basically just trying to stay marketable at all times.
Yep, exactly. You got to, man, because like if once you get typecast, man,
It's hard.
especially if it's in like a irrelevant technology or whatever or
Yeah.
low relevance, like you're stuck there.
Hmm.
Like, oh, I'm an Angular JS, Angular one master. Oh,
Hmm.
well, we want Angular two, we want React. Oh, well, I don't have that experience.
Yep.
You just get stuck. I'm kind of in that position right now because most of these companies are using React, and I'm
Hmm.
primary Angular, so I've been getting back on teaching myself React to become more marketable.
Yeah. And on that point, I want to say like don't uh as a developer or as a person, I guess you could say like you don't want to be should always be learning. That's the point I'm
Yep.
trying to make. Always be learning. Don't wait until I gotta find another job to
Yep.
learn
Too late
TypeScript,
then.
to learn uh, React, to learn GraphQL, to learn anything. Like if it's hot
Yep.
and it's new, pick it up. Like my dad told me one day, a long time ago, like 2019, 2018. He was on the, he was reading the news or whatever, I guess, or watching the news. Google came out with this new language called Go or whatever. You should learn Go, blah 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 blah. I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
okay, whatever, right?
That's like a hot language.
Now look at it, right? Now look at
Yeah.
Go, right? And I'm not saying like there's that one the end all to be all one language, right? De facto, like I should, if I learn this, then I'm set for life, right? But
Yeah.
there's just certain things that if you just took the initiative, if I took the initiative early on, things would be a lot different, you know.
Mhm.
And like I had a roommate who back in around that same about around that same time that my dad told me to all go, he says, "Oh yeah, I have this Bitcoin miner, and it's like this little box or whatever, and he would
Yeah.
always keep it running. I didn't understand it at the time, but it was always plugged up to some outlet or
Yeah.
whatever, and it was always running. And like at the end of a year, he had like one Bitcoin, and I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But now look at the price of Bitcoin. I'm like, shit,
Yeah.
this dude was onto something, and
Right.
like, and I'm thinking he's crazy or whatever. It's it's amazing what like hindsight does to people, but it's also amazing like some people that have that foresight
Mhm.
to see like what, let me pick this up. I might not use
Yeah.
it now, but let me just dabble with it. Let me get used to
Try
it.
it out.
Let me
Yeah.
try it out and mess with it and learn it. I don't gotta be a master in it, but let me just understand the fundamentals of it. That way, if it ever comes up again, I'm not behind the curve.
Yeah, that's kind of the issue. A lot of times we have a fear of trying things out. Like, oh, what if I can't? Well, how do you know you can't learn it if you never try?
Yeah,
If you can't learn it, then so what?
yeah,
You just spent some time at least exercising your brain.
yeah,
So I think that's the big thing. That's how a lot of people get successful, just trying things out. Like,
hmm,
the video game streamers,
yeah,
someone make millions. If they would have never tried it out, they would have never been in that position. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you gotta be willing to fail too.
yeah,
Like, but in order to fail and in order to succeed, like I'm learning, like with this whole like the weightlifting stuff, right? Like I've injured myself the same way, maybe I think twice, maybe three times at
yeah,
this point, and but I wouldn't have the story of like, oh, I pinched this nerve or I got injured here or whatever if I didn't show up.
yeah,
So you got to show up. Like you can't uh you can't want success without putting in the effort and without showing up. And that's the real deal where it's like, you know what, just show up, and if you fail, cool, it's great. At least you tried.
yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of Americans, they have an unhealthy attitude towards failure. Like, what are you going to get more gains with if you're working out? If you work out to failure, or if you just do a comfortable, easy lift that you've done 20 other times, 2,000
Right.
other times.
Yeah.
The failure that kind of teaches us like our limits, and it also forces us to grow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think there's a balance there too, though. Like, you can't go to failure to the extent where you're injuring yourself, but you sometimes you have to know, like, okay, I failed and this is far enough. I'm gonna
Yeah.
stop here.
Yeah.
Because I remember, like, back in the day, I used to try to be like super hardcore with the workouts, and
Yeah.
like, man, I severely injured myself. Like,
You're
let me
diverting
keep
yourself.
going. So listen to your body, listen to your mind. If your mind is, hey, yeah, chill out, then you chill out, but
Yeah.
push yourself
Yeah.
to the limits.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Did you hear about Snapchat releasing this? I think they're releasing a drone for
Um,
or at least like it looks like they're going to release a drone called the Pixie. It's a selfie drone.
so like, what does it do? Like, just take little snaps and then put it on Snapchat or something?
I guess so.
No, okay, I
I guess,
guess.
but I mean, we were talking about how like social media platforms
Yeah,
are trying to innovate, and do newer things. Like they want to separate themselves from
yeah,
all these other platforms that seem to be doing the same thing.
yeah. It's kind of cool.
Um, yeah, I think it's legit. I mean, they tried glasses, which was kind of that was different. I think Google Glass did the same thing, right? Something similar.
Yeah,
Um, I think Mark Zuckerberg released glasses also for Facebook with
yeah. You
Ray-Ban.
probably did.
Um, but I think it's cool, like how people are trying to to,
Innovate and stuff.
to innovate.
Yeah,
Because the platform can only do so much, right? At a certain point,
yeah.
you have to start getting like really creative. And
Right.
with a portable drone, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the only concern about that is like, people gonna have privacy concerns. Like, okay, I have the drone, it's on me, but it's picking up
Yeah,
all these other people in the background. Oh, I don't want to be in this picture.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But at
That's
least they're trying something new.
yeah.
But
That's
where,
that's
where,
the
where do
thing.
you, what can social media do though to really, you know, distinguish yourself? Like, to,
Um, I don't know.
like, are we
Honestly,
at
I'm
the
not
limits
sure.
of technology pretty much? Or what can technology do to be interesting?
Uh, well, Snapchat's doing this AR thing. I don't know if you saw that. They're
No, I haven't.
partnering. I think they're partnering with. Um, they're adding. Well, I don't know who they're partnering with, but they're doing a dress up feature
Hmm.
where like you basically like you go online to a site or whatever, you pick a product that you want, like some shoes or something, and then you you tap like an AR, right? A little thing comes up says AR, you tap
Yeah.
it, and then it goes to your phone, right? It opens up the camera on your phone, and then just like I think Amazon does it, where if you select a product like a desk or something, you can
Mhm.
you can go into AR mode and see what the piece of furniture is like in your home before you
Yeah.
even buy it.
Pretty cool. Yeah. So
Yeah.
for those that don't know, AR is like augmented reality. It's kind of like you put on glasses and then you have like 3D images projected on top of reality and
Hmm.
can interact with it. I think it kind of when you was a kid, like you imagine things. You had like an imaginary friend or something like that. It's
Yeah.
kind of like bringing that to life, which is kind of crazy. Like something that doesn't exist, but now you can actually see it in this digital world overlaid on top of reality.
Yeah. I think I think it'll work in some cases, maybe not all cases, just because
Hmm.
not everybody's gonna. It's, I could see there being some edge cases of like
Yeah.
you're trying to do like a one size fit all type deal, but I think you know for consumers who can't leave their homes for one way or another, or who
Mhm.
don't have the who don't want to leave to drive to a place, take some tape measure, go to IKEA, take
Yeah.
measurements of a thing that you like and hope that it fits or whatever. Like using AR would be pretty sick.
Yeah, I guess like people also do it to use like, okay, I want to see how this car looks in my driveway or something. That'd be, that'd be
Yeah,
kind of interesting.
yeah, that would be cool.
Like what, like a digital showroom type of thing. Like it projects a hologram of you in these clothes or something. You see how it looks on you.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be pretty
Or
cool.
I know you're into the workout thing. What if you had like a personal trainer? It shows like he could like project like a hologram or like a model of like your body and says, okay, you need to work on this. He just points out different things and you know,
That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. Like we're entering like a Star Wars type territory at that point, but like
yeah,
I think that'd be pretty cool, man. Like to be able to like to see a hologram of like my body and like okay, your muscles are here, 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 and this is your
yeah.
man. Don't get me started. Like I'm, uh,
You're probably gonna pair that with like those smart devices that take your heartbeat and all of that. Like, okay,
yeah, yeah, I can see
you're
that.
somewhat healthy. You need to work out like this, and they
Hmm.
kind of show the
Body.
model of you doing the exercise.
Hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool, man. I think, I don't know how close we are to that reality,
Yeah,
uh,
I
but I
think
think that,
technically we can do it right now, but it's just like, is somebody going to build the infrastructure to do that?
yeah, yeah. I can see it costing a lot of money to do some tech like that.
Yeah, that might be the next big thing, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that right now. I was like, man, that might be sick, but to come up with that tech, it would cost a lot. It would cost
I think you can use Unity to do that kind of stuff, right? Unity has
maybe.
AR,
Yeah, that's a possibility too. But then I'd have to learn was it C sharp I think or C plus plus. I forget what
C
Unity
sharp.
uses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See, I mean, C sharp really isn't that more much different than TypeScript. They both were made by the same guy. So if you know TypeScript, you could pick up C sharp with like
nice,
very little problems. I
nice.
think C++ is like harder because it's a little bit more different. That's what
Uh huh.
Unreal uses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be a good investment to learn Unity or even Unreal Engine because I kind of see like the web becoming more interactive instead of just
Hmm.
like flat brochure like pages. So like today, a potential company I was going to interview with, I visit their site. They have like a little 3D model. It's like a car company. You can see like a
Yeah.
little 3D model rotated around, change the
Hmm.
color. So I kind
That's
of
cool.
foresee the web moving towards that.
Yeah. Less 2D and more 3D models
Yeah,
and stuff. Yeah.
exactly.
AR and VRs especially. Yeah, I can see it.
I think that will make work a lot more fun too. Like actually making like those kind of experiences instead of like make this pretty div. Just
Drag and
nothing
drop
form.
this, make this pretty div here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it'd be kind of cool like to fill out forms instead of you actually filling out a form. Uh, you log in. It's like a 3D model, and they use voice recognition. It's just like, what is your name? Then you say your name, and the voice recognition picks up on it, and
yeah.
that's how it's like you're literally answering questions, and
Like
and
a
at the
questionnaire.
end, yeah,
Yeah,
and at the
that'd be
end,
cool.
they show the form, and you can make any corrections you need. Like, is this correct? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Why
Dang,
why aren't we
yeah,
why are we trying to make this?
yeah, man. That'd be sick. Watch. Give it 5 years. Give it five
Yeah.
years. I'm calling it now. Give it 5 years. Somebody's gonna make it. If we don't make it, somebody else will.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it might be some fun stuff to play around with, man. Why not?
Yeah, yeah. Why not? Yeah. And you know what's crazy is like a lot of these apps that are like out nowadays, right? Like 5 years ago, you know, no one's thinking about that type of stuff, right? Or it's barely getting off the ground, right?
Mm,
Or maybe even 10 years ago. Let's go that far back, right? Like or when I let me go back even further. When I was growing up, I didn't think about social media or likes and tweets and sharing and all that stuff. It was whatever.
right.
Um, influence was on the TV or on the radio. Um, yeah, it's crazy how fast technology is moving these days. Where like
No,
in 5 years, it's like okay, now everybody's on social media. Like you can practically go nowhere without somebody being on their phone or posting about something or whatever. It's interesting. We're so
yeah, you
connected.
know, it wasn't that long ago where we had like the big TVs, like the one with the big backs, like 50, 60 pounds to pick
Yep,
up.
yep,
You know,
yep,
cell phones were like huge and clunky, or they
yep.
didn't even exist. So like technology is like people that went to prison in the '90s and they're out now. It's like wow, this is a completely different world.
Yeah. Man, I never thought about that. Like to leave for so long and come back,
Yeah,
when like the whole world's just like changed upside down. Yeah,
exactly. It's kind of blow your mind, man.
yeah,
But yeah, I think that's a good point to end it. What do you think?
yeah. I think so.
All right, yeah, we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.